She's April.
And she's Molly.
And we are...
Book Besties.
But they should have sex. Unprotected with the door unlocked. At a party. Wait, they have to both... One of them has to be a person of color, too. Fraggin'. I don't do that tongue thing. I have TRICARE.
Price check on prune juice, Bob. Price check on prune juice.
He's a grower, not a shower.
By the way, in case you've forgotten what the fuck we're talking about today, it's this book, Wilder Girls by Rory Power.
I apologize. Would you like me to show you Wash? In condolence?
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Both of us forgot to dress up.
Well, I was actually, because we film, before episodes come out. Like, we don't just, all of a sudden, what are you supposed to be? A witch?
Yes.
That is, the worst witch hat ever. Anyway.
You be nice to my witch hat. It's fancy. Look at it. It's cute.
It looks like it's a little limp.
It is a limp witch hat.
It might be cold out. That's what it looks like.
He's a grower, not a shower.
So today is actually not Halloween, but the day that everyone's listening to this is Halloween. Today it's, the magical world of when we film. But
the day that's not Halloween.
The day that's not Halloween. I had a really big event this past week at work. Mm-hmm. And so I actually took today off work.
Good.
And,
you deserve it.
I hung out with my husband all day and we went and bought a bunch of stuff to make our Halloween costumes.
Nice. What are you
ours
doing this year?
Huh?
What are you guys doing this year? You guys always do the cutest family costumes. So I'm always interested to see what it is.
So every year we do a family costume, and this year we are Monopoly pieces.
I mean, you don't have the budget of Neil Patrick Harris and his husband David, but I look forward to it just as much.
Tom usually makes them. I made them when the boys were younger, and now Tom makes them.
I don't doubt that.
So I'm going to be the thimble because it means kiss from the movie Hook, which I found out today my husband has never seen.
Which we had a long conversation about in the group chat. I still have questions, sir. Sir, I have questions.
I don't know.
Does he not like Glenn Close?
He doesn't know anybody else that's in it except Robin Williams. That's the only person I named.
Julia Roberts is in it.
Oh, yeah, I did name Julia Roberts.
Worst Tinkerbell ever, but Julia Roberts was in it.
She was so cute.
It's just the wig. The wig bugs me. Still to this day, that wig bugs me.
It's Julia Roberts. It's the 90s. What else is going to...
What are you going to expect? Yeah.
But then this went down this, path of us, going back and forth through Robin Williams' IMDb to try to figure out, what were his best movies. And so, in conclusion, for me, his best family movie is Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh. Close second, tie, is Ferngully and Hook.
Ooh. I'm going to have to say his best family film is Hook. I like Hook. Or no, Aladdin.
I disagree completely.
Aladdin, Hook, Ferngully. Mm-mm. He's spectacular in Ferngully. Ferngully is such an underrated film from when we were kids.
Price check on prune juice, Bob. Price check on prune juice. I freaking love that movie.
Such a good movie.
Movie.
That and Anastasia. Those two movies did not get the love they deserved.
No, because they weren't Disney.
No, they weren't Disney. And Anastasia had such a beautiful story and I fucking loved Anastasia.
Yeah.
Dancing bears gracefully, things I once remember. I loved that movie.
I'm not even going to rein you in. I was enjoying it.
It was so sweet. It's an orphan story. An orphan.
You're not an orphan.
No, Harry Potter or... Star Wars, another orphan movie, the orphan needs to find their way. It's just, there's always an orphan movie. Mm-hmm. Guess where I'm going tonight? Oh, sorry.
I
You
just finished another Olivia Dade book,
Okay.
and
Which one is it?
so it's called Teach Me, and it's her first series before she wrote Spoiler Alert. So it's actually
Teach
not her
me.
first series.
Teach me.
Um, her first series was not plus size main characters. This was her first plus size main character, and it's about two teachers. And other than the fact that they used like teaching rhetoric and buzzwords as part of their foreplay, I really enjoyed it. But that I was like, no.
So she's definitely grown as an author, is what you're saying.
I mean, it was still spicy and delightful, and witty banter was there. It had all
Of the things.
of the things. I mean,
Hmm.
it was enemies to lovers, forced proximity, workplace romance.
Just
They
all
they
of
were
it.
both mature because they were both divorcees and in their 40s. I mean, it was just like a lot of the things, but it was really good. It
Got
was
it.
super cheesy. I loved it. Olivia, please keep writing. She actually has a new book coming out next year.
I
I've already pre-ordered it.
saw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real excited about that. You know
Yeah.
who else has a new book coming out?
Who?
Deb.
I know.
Did you see she released a preview of the playlist?
Mm.
And it's like Fleetwood Mac and Taylor Swift and Carly not Carly Simons, Brandy Carlisle, and a lot of moody singer-songwriters. Sarah's real pissed in this book, and I'm fucking here for it. I
Who
don't
was
know.
Sarah again? Who was
Sarah
that?
is the aunt.
The aunt?
She's the aunt. She's Diana's aunt who lost her partner during.
River Song dies?
No, no, M dies.
Well, River Song also dies, but
River Song also dies, but so Sarah is the redhead that's played by River Song. M is the other one. The
her aunt is the one that's played by River?
yeah. Yeah. M's the partner, not the aunt. Well, I mean, she is an aunt, but she's not the aunt.
So this is River's story.
This is River's story.
Okay, well, what are you doing tonight? We need to talk about that so we can get into the story.
I get to see our friend
Nikki.
Nikki.
Our friends.
Nikki Payne, and I'm
Nikki
hoping
Payne.
she's gonna. And my hope is she's gonna be like, "Oh, have you met Molly from Book
Have you met
Besties?"
Molly?
That's my hope. I'm hoping I get a "Have you met Ted?" because I'm really excited to meet Ashley Herring Blake. She writes those sapphic novels I am fucking in love with.
Yeah, but she'll probably be at a different table. So aren't you just like going to both tables for them to sign, or?
I hope I get to meet them both.
I'm sure you will.
And I'm bringing Piper because Piper's read all of the sapphic ones with me.
Has she read Pride and Protest?
No. No.
That one is Sex in a Limo.
That is Sex in a Limo.
So
Sex in a Limo. But no, she has not read Pride and Protest. She just knows that Nikki and I are writing friends and that Nikki's been on the pod. So she has not read.
Coming back on the pod in February.
Woo! So let's talk about this week's scary book.
This is our last book of spooky season, and this book is called Wilder Girls, and it is by Rory Power. I keep saying Powell, but it's Rory Power, and this is her debut, and she is a YA author, and this is a library copy. Support local libraries.
I kept saying Powell.
Like, see, I did too.
Colin Powell. Oh. That's where my brain goes. Colin Powell.
Rory Powell. I don't know why I kept saying that, but that's what I kept thinking her name was.
I don't know.
Anyway, you want a synopsis?
I'd love a synopsis. Hit it.
Right.
Hit it.
Here we go. Hetty, Byatt, and Reese. Gosh, those are terrible names, by the way.
Terrible. The audiobook narrator, I didn't know if she was saying Wyatt or Byatt. The way Byatt. She was not enunciating the buh sound. It was Byatt.
Yeah.
So it's like, huh?
Let me start over.
Yeah.
Hetty, Byatt, and Reese live at Raxter School for Girls on the secluded Raxter Island. They have lived at Raxter for 3 years now, but have been stuck on the island for the past 18 months because of the talks. The tox came on quickly and has altered each girl in a different way. Hetty has lost sight in one of her eyes, Byatt has a second spine, and Reese has silver scales up her arm. The other Raxter girls have some bizarre ailments, and the only two remaining staff seem to have some strange issues as well. With the CDC and the Navy providing very little supplies to the now quarantined island, the Raxter girls have turned even more feral. When Hetty is switched from gun shift to boat shift, Reese attacks her, even though they are close friends. Things turn really unsettling when Hetty discovers the lack of supplies is not the fault of the Navy, but that of Miss Welch, who is instructing the boat shift girls to throw almost all the supplies over due to what she thinks is contamination. To make matters worse, Byatt has a flare-up from the tox that sends her to the infirmary, where many girls go but never come back. Hetty sneaks into the infirmary to check on her best friend, only to discover she is gone. Byatt has been taken to a CDC lab to be studied, leaving Hetty and Reese alone to discover their romantic interest in each other and begin to unravel all the secrets Raxter has to offer.
All the secrets.
All right, this book was written by debut novelist Rory Power.
Yeah.
Thoughts on her writing style?
You can tell it's her first novel.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely tell it's, I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It
Yeah.
reads like a first-time author.
Yeah.
There is cliches in here. There is,
so many.
Like, she, I know you have a question about this, and we'll talk about it more there, but, like, deciding to add a second point of view, a fourth of the way through the book, just shows her, you know, like, her youth in writing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So much.
And I mean, she has a handle on YA. She knows the YA voice and tone. She has a good sense of her characters.
Mm-hmm.
She's a solid writer.
Yeah.
She's a solid writer. I have some problems with storyline and whatnot, but her writing style is a 4 out of 5. Like, she knows who she is. That's for sure for me.
I think that's quite generous. But
I am being generous. I am being generous.
I can't remember if I have a question here about this, so maybe I'll just say it now, and if it comes up, then that's fine. So I picked this book, and when I started reading it and started getting how the girls' bodies were changing, it reminded me a lot of Katzenjammer.
Yeah.
By Francesca Zappia, who came on to the pod before that book premiered, and that was our first time on the pod.
Second.
It was her second? Are you sure?
She came and did a revisit, or no, that was her first time, because she did a revisit of Eliza and Her Monsters at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. So she came on, and that book, if you haven't read that book, go read it.
What the hell are you doing with your time?
Go listen to our episode.
The audiobook's great too, but the physical book has things that the audiobook's not going to.
Right. So it reminded me of how the characters were changing so much in Katzenjammer, but that book is so much better.
It's so creepier.
Outrights this author significantly, and I don't think it's because it was her fourth book at that time, third or fourth book at the time. I don't think it was that. I just think that she is naturally talented more so than this author.
Chessie, we're comparing apples and oranges, by the way, guys. Both fruits, but different kinds of fruits. Chessie knows her voice. Chessie is confident in her voice, and her and I have been talking. Her and I talk about writing all the time. Just duh. But when I talk to her about writing, it is very apparent to me that if she decides she's going to write a genre, she can write that genre. If Chessie decided she was going to be a fucking historical fiction writer, all she would do is just fucking do it. Because that's her demeanor and her writing style. I'm not meant to jump from genre to genre.
Very few authors successfully do that, but
Stephen King can do it.
Well, Chessie has been able to do it. I don't think that Rory can write
what
she intended to write here.
Right, no. I mean, I see what she was trying. And if she was to make this a series, I think it would get legs and do better and like stretch out, but she has no plans of making this a series. She has no plans on developing this. She has no plans of making Wilder Girls more. And I
Mhm.
have beef with that for a lot of reasons, but I think she left this story just,
Hanging.
yeah.
She threw away the ending.
She
I mean,
100%.
you know more about the publishing world than I do, but I tend to think that when YA authors are being picked up for series, they already have the series mapped out.
Well,
Um, it
most of the
doesn't usually happen that they get picked up and it's like, oh, this did well. Okay,
right,
write 2 more.
right.
It's like, you are going to do a 3-book series. We're
Well,
contacting you for that.
okay, so let me use, since we were talking about Deb today, let's talk about Deb for a second.
Mhm.
Deb had Discovery of Witches, Shadow of Night, and Book of Life planned out. That
Mhm.
was originally a trilogy. She sold
Mhm.
it as a trilogy.
Right.
As she began to develop the world, and she knew in the back of her head that she was going to do the Marcus book next. She
Mhm.
knew Times Convert was next, and she is working on a Galglass book. It's just on the shelf. She's currently working on the Sarah book, which is the Chronicles of Oracles. That's coming out next year. Fingers crossed, gang. But Deb originally planned 3 books,
Mhm.
and as Deb blew up,
Right.
they just turned it from the All Souls trilogy into the All Souls world. But
Right.
we've seen this with other books where the author has one book and it blows up, and they could, like, A Court of Thorn and Roses. Originally, A Court of Thorn and Roses was signed on for 1 book. It blew up. They signed her on for 3, and then they signed her up for the rest of it. As
I
the
didn't know that with ACOTAR, but I know a few YA series that were intended to be trilogies and then have gotten extra books, like
it,
Twilight, for example, and
yeah,
Hunger Games, and the Ugly series by Scott
yeah.
Westerfield. Those were all intended to be
The
trilogies.
Selection,
Now,
those last 2 books were an
oh
add-ons.
yeah, those two. Now, Hunger Games, she really did say trilogy done. I'm done with
Yeah.
Katniss's story. So the whereas in Stephanie Meyer just wrote Twilight again from Edward's point of view.
Which I
Um,
refuse to read, by the way.
oh,
Refuse.
I actually thought it was good, but it doesn't make
I
me
hear he's
like
like
Edward.
stalkery.
Yeah, he's really,
It's like gross.
really problematic. You
Yeah.
start really, yeah.
Questioning everything.
Yeah.
God.
But Suzanne Collins wouldn't tell more of Katniss's story. She told more of the story within the world.
But she built the world, right? She gave us more of
Right.
the world.
Katniss isn't a character in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. She's not
She
a
doesn't need
character
to
at all.
be.
Now, if you are like you want to go down a rabbit hole, you can figure out. Have you read that one yet? I don't want to
Uh-uh.
spoil anything for you. You can go down a
You
rabbit
can
hole and figure out
spoil it.
how Katniss gets fit into it,
Yeah.
but
Well, it's about
she's not
Snow,
a character.
right?
Yes, but
It's about him as a game maker and like a young Snow, right?
it's him in high school, his last year of high
Excuse me.
school,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a mentor.
Oh, okay.
It's the what Hunger Games is it?
Quarter Quell?
No, no, it's like the 10th Hunger Games or something.
Oh.
And the Hunger Games was not the spectacle that it was. Oh my gosh, we're going on such a tangent here. Maybe we should talk about this later. But
Let's just talk about this
the
later.
point is, there is a girl that he's
What book are we
mentoring.
talking about?
There's a girl that he's mentoring. That's the District 12 tribute girl.
Gotcha.
So if you unravel all the threads, it's most likely, spoilers, it's most likely that this is an ancestor of Katniss's through her dad's side.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So it's like Katniss, but Katniss adjacent. So we want you all to think it's just put it in your mind it's Katniss. Pretend.
Well, it makes sense why there would be more of a vendetta against her.
Yeah.
But anyway, you just have to read it because it's really good. I mean,
I'll
it's
read it.
Suzanne Collins. You can't go fucking wrong. That woman is masterful.
I mean, she did create Brother Bear. Little Bear. Sorry, Little Bear.
It's not the same Suzanne Collins.
No, I was told it was.
I don't think so.
I thought it was. Okay, you go to the next question while I look this up.
Oh, no. I'm looking this up. She was a writer for the show, not the book.
Okay.
So we can concede that she sort of did it. Okay.
She was a part of Brother Bear.
Little Bear. But Little Bear was a book series.
Right.
The book is classified, by the way, in case you've forgotten what the fuck we're talking about today, it's this book, Wilder Girls by Rory Power.
We're here, I swear, gang.
This book is classified as YA horror. Do you think it lived up to the genre?
No. This is YA fantasy. This is YA dystopia. This is not horror.
I'll go with that. I mean,
This is
the
not
world
horror.
hasn't ended, but their world has.
This is dystopia. This is not horror.
I agree.
This is not horror. There is no there is no big looming scary villain that is hunting them and killing them. There is no mysterious monster. Right. Like this isn't horror. I will die on that hill. This is not horror.
I don't think it is either, but I legit wanted to know your opinion because you do read horror and I don't. To me, this reads more like it's dystopian, but it's dystopian in not so it's not that the world has ended, it is rebuilding, like in the Hunger Games, which is your typical dystopian.
Yeah.
This is dystopian in the everything here in this one particular place.
It's like a pandemic dystopia. You know what I mean? Like
that is the best way to describe it. It's like
it's a pandemic.
It's not a pandemic because it doesn't leave the island. I don't know what the right word is. Plague?
A plague. Let's call it a plague. It's just, I will call it horror. I will give you it's horror light because of the injuries the girls have, right? And there is a lot of trauma when like the creatures come for them and bullshit. Like that bear is fucking scary. That bear is fucking scary. The bobcats are scary. I have an issue, by the way.
The deer are scary.
Okay. Bobcats are named bobcats. Why?
I don't know.
Because their tails are bobbed. Their tails are no more than 2 inches. 2 inches. Even if this cat has grown to an exorbitant rate, it will not be able to lash its tail. This woman wrote lashing of a tail. They don't have fucking tails. They are bobcats. Bobcats. They don't have tails.
I have an issue with the variations of wildlife that were found on this island. I just don't think that all of these creatures.
No, like there were
definitely things that are down in the south.
There is a lack of research here. There is a lack of research here that made Molly really mad.
It did me too.
Okay, so what were we talking about before I lost my shit about bobcats?
We didn't talk about last week the fact that you and Katie filmed without me, which was awesome. If you didn't hear the episode.
I'm surprised we stayed together.
I mean, it's better than we're doing this week. So, I'm
medicated this week.
I thought you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
But one of the things that Katie said was Addison Armstrong, who's coming on next month, that when we read her books, hers are so well researched. And the other author you were reading last week, and then again, Rory Power this week, these are just not well researched. And here's the thing. I've seen a few editors on TikTok and Instagram who talk about like the things that they get annoyed with when they're editing books because of authors not doing their research. And this is one of those examples where it's just like how did this make it into the book?
It's stuff like this that gets under my skin, right? Because if you don't know what a bobcat is, and you just know the word bobcat or even idea of a bobcat, maybe take a second. Because yes, a tail does lash. But that was common sense, right? Like if you have any basic knowledge of a bobcat, the reason they're named bobcats is because their tails are bobbed.
I didn't know that, but now I do. I did in general feel like this amount of wildlife was like, no.
Okay, and the island. The island. I don't have my book. Piper has my book. There's no fucking map.
I need a map, man.
I need a goddamn map. If we are staying in one fucking location and we are running for our fucking lives all the time, I need to know what the fuck's going on.
I need a map.
I need a map. You're talking about these places like I know where they are.
Right.
Why?
And you know what, Molly?
Fuck those. What, April? Fuck those.
Molly.
April.
You know how when we read We Were Liars last year for spooky season, there was a fucking map in there. And it was on an island. She could have just been like, you know what? Copy paste.
But I did find a map. But you know who made the map?
Fans.
Fans. Okay, what question were we on and what did you ask?
The one complaint I have about Suzanne Collins is that The Hunger Games doesn't have a map.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about that. She definitely built a world without a map. Speaking of, my map's unfinished. Henceforth, that's the new angle, by the way. I'm not showing the map right now.
Okay. All right, well.
Keep your secrets then. As I said to Tom today, keep your secrets then.
All right, so there are a lot of relationships in this book that do not make sense to me. And one is Hetty and Reese. So do you buy the sapphic romance between these two? And was it necessary to the plot? Because it gets a for me.
Okay. Okay. I need to adjust for this one. Roll my shirt.
Stretch it out. Get ready. She's gonna rant, everybody.
Okay. She wrote a love triangle and then fucking dropped it. She wrote a love.
No, I don't even know if I would argue that it's a love triangle. I really think Hetty and Byatt were just friends, and that Reese was fucking jealous because she had a crush on Hetty, and Hetty didn't understand her feelings well enough to understand that she wasn't straight. Whatever queer label she was,
whatever queerness she is.
Mm-hmm.
This island, these girls were already discombobulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting half stories. The only kid we get a full story from is the kid that lives on the island. Out of the 3 girls we follow, we get partial stories from all of them. So we don't have full history on these girls, and we're supposed to just instantly know them.
So
wrong. No. This book had plenty of space for flashbacks and more information. This book could have been definitely longer. I'll say that.
We do get more information about all of them, but it's just not done very well.
It's not enough. It's not enough to fill this world in. And Byatt is the one that's kidnapped. Reese is the scaly one. Hetty's our main character, right? That sounds right? Okay.
Yes, so I don't know that Hetty is really... We'll get to that in the next question.
Okay, so... Reese's behavior towards Hetty feels normal to me.
I disagree.
She is very jealous. Mm-hmm. She is, but...
Reese is the best friend that's like, why don't you love me? You should love me because we're best friends and I'm the perfect person for you.
I also feel like that's Byatt too.
Black.
Oh, I feel like that's Byatt.
I don't, because I don't think Byatt is gay. I think Byatt is a sociopath.
Byatt 100% is a sociopath. And I think Hetty's the only person she really loves. I think Hetty's
I would say romantically loves.
But no, like the way I love you. You and I have a bond.
Are you telling me you don't romantically love me?
No, I'm sorry. Is this news to you?
So offended.
I apologize. Would you like me to show you wash? In condolence?
Always show me wash. Yes, dinosaurs! That's amazing!
But I feel like that was love. Like true friendship love. Yeah. Because I feel like psychopath Byatt, probably told a lot of things to Hetty that she probably never shared with other people before. And you could see they had a true bond by the whole 80s belt loop thing.
I don't know.
But okay, I'm on the fence if it was...
I almost feel like Hetty and Byatt, that Hetty loved Byatt as a sister, but Byatt confided more in Reese. I mean, we get that
right. But I feel like Byatt also used Hetty's love.
These names are terrible.
I feel like, okay, girl 1. I feel like girl 1 was being used by girl 2. Girl 2 was friends with Reese, but knew Reese could see her bullshit. This is awful. This is the worst. Okay, so...
Are you new here, Molly? Are you drawing us a map of the love triangle?
Okay, so this one, right? So like this one and this one are besties. But this one's obsessed with this one. But this one doesn't trust this one. But they have to be together. But he has to be this one. I'm fucking done.
If you want to follow that, gang, just go watch the YouTube video.
But what I'm saying is it made no goddamn sense.
That's accurate.
It made no sense. I think she wrote it unsure of the lines she was making.
Mm-hmm.
I think she started it going, these are going to be 3 best friends. And then as she started writing it, she goes, no, that's not it, bro. I don't know what it is, homie, but it's not it. It's not it.
I would be interested to see her writing notes to the point of when she decided they were going to both be queer.
Yeah. I'd love to see first edits, first drafts.
I feel like it doesn't make sense that their mutual best friend is missing and they decide it's a good time to make out.
That's teenage hormones. It does
feel like a horror movie a little bit.
That is 100% horror films. But they should have sex. Unprotected with the door unlocked.
Well, but
at a party.
The better chance of them both dying if they're virgins.
Wait, they have to both. One of them has to be a person of color too.
Yeah, good point. Well, Reese's silver, does that count?
Sure, I'll count it. We'll count it.
All right, let's talk about the dual narrators in this book because fucking hell, this gets another from me. So this is set up that this book is told from Hetty's point of view, and right. I think we are. Gosh, I actually wrote it down. Hang on. We're 120 pages into
a fourth of the way into the book.
A fourth of the way, possibly a little more like a third into the book before we get any other point of view.
I literally rolled back 3 chapters and I was like, what?
So I was listening and reading this and I really thought I missed something when they started from Byatt's point of view. I was like, has this been alternating the whole time?
And I just missed it? No.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
To me, this was the biggest cop-out in this whole book. And that, in my opinion, this was lazy writing. It showed her immaturity as a writer, that she couldn't figure out how to write the story in third person.
She knew she had to tell Byatt's side. She had to explain where Byatt went. And she needed to show the mischief that was going on the other side of the island. But she didn't know how to fucking do it.
And I agree with you, Molly, but we knew Byatt had secrets from the very beginning. That's established from the beginning. So they could have done dual narration and made her an unreliable narrator.
Would have been so good.
As we find more out about her story, that she was like basically a compulsive liar and lied because she liked the way it manipulated people. Like, it would have been a better story had we gotten more of the world filled out for Byatt. Frankly, I didn't give a shit about Hetty and Reese's romantic intentions. I cared about what was happening to Byatt. That was the story.
And like this whole sub story of fucking worrying about Reese's dad and the whole fight between, like, it's just, there were so many unnecessary storylines in here.
Yeah.
And it was such a tangled knot of a mess. I didn't see how she was going to straighten it out. And she didn't. She left it in a knotty mess at the end.
It was like, oh, okay, I'm done now. I've written enough pages. Was this like a NaNoWriMo project that never got edited? What the hell?
And scene. We're done. Good job.
I wrote a book! Yay!
She did! And she got monies for it! Good for her, man!
I feel like we need to sing the, what's the Dora the Explorer song? You did it! We did it! We did it! We did it!
Dora! Dora!
If I wanted to listen to a toddler yell at me, I could just listen to my own kids. I don't have to watch a TV show about it. Dora's awful.
All of them are.
Caillou is always broken in our house. Look at that. Doesn't work again. As the story unfolds, we learn that Byatt has a backstory about lying and persuading people to do what she wants. Were you surprised that she was able to convince Teddy to kiss her?
No, he was a hormonal teenage boy who saw a girl.
My notes say, dumbass 19-year-old boy. Also, she's clearly sick and 15. Like, come on, dude.
But he's lonely. He's He's fresh out. He went from
at a boot camp, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the Navy," and this girl is like,
most accurate part of this fucking whole book. Have you met any 19-year-old straight out of boot camp? Half of them getting married out of boot camp.
He's just, there's a girl here. That's good enough. Works for me. Don't care that she's in quarantine.
I have TRICARE.
We actually knew people in Houston that we were friends with. I'm gonna not name names. Who like got married because, and I quote, to be on the payroll. Well,
end quote.
I'll remind you off pod who that was if you forgot.
Oh, I'm sure I remember.
I can't say it now. I don't want to call them out like that, but I mean, I'm sure they love each other, whatever. But
I'm sure they do love each other. But you know,
I think they're still married. I'm just assuming. Yeah, I was not surprised at all that he was able to convince her to kiss him. I thought it was really funny when whatever the fuck the doctor's name was like,
Pickett.
That's not it, but I don't remember what it was. But when the doctor was like, "Can you just tell me like what you did to convince?"
Yeah.
You okay?
I was looking for the book. I was gonna look her name up.
To convince, like, what did you do?
Right. How did you get this boy? Yeah.
He gets sick when none of the rest of us did. And she's just like, I kissed him, and she laughs.
Yeah. She's like
ah,
fucking teenage girls. Fucking teenage girls.
No. Fucking teenage boys. This was on him, not on her.
Oh, it's absolutely on Byatt. Byatt was a fucking manipulative little shit. She convinced him to go outside. She convinced him to take his mask off.
Molly.
April.
You're raising girls and I'm raising boys, and I cannot believe I'm defending the fact that it was the boy's fault.
Yes, he had free will. But that girl was very convincing, and we both know that woman was a psychopath.
You just got through saying that he was like a normal kid off of...
He is! And that's why he was so susceptible to freaking Byatt's manipulation.
He didn't need her to convince him. He saw a woman and was like, I'm gonna kiss her.
I can't believe we're arguing about this stupid fucking book.
I feel like we just have so many better things to talk about than this book. I mean, not for the podcast, clearly, because our podcast is reading books and not all of them are good. But, all right, let's just move on to the next question.
Sounds good.
While Byatt is in the hospital, a battery of tests and treatments, or let's just call a spade, experiments, are tried on her. What do you think of her time in the hospital?
I think it was lazy writing.
I thought it was more interesting than the other storyline. I
mean, yes, but it was lazy writing because she had no idea how she was going to tell that part of the story.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. Third person exists. And if you don't want to write in third person, if it's hard for you, and honestly, I prefer reading first person to third person. So if that's your issue, you're like, I want to write a first person book, then you need to actually do dual narration. Don't wait till she's fucking kidnapped.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
So lazy.
It's so lazy.
So lazy.
It's just... I don't know how else she could have gotten her...
Sometimes we read books, Molly, and I'm just like, this was the thing that was never put in the slush pile. This was the thing that was picked up by an agent who saw the talent, and an editor who saw the talent, and a publishing company who saw the talent. This was it? This was it?
I've written better pages. I'm just saying. I've written better pages.
I'm pretty sure that my kids have written better pages when they've just written like books about themselves for school.
It's just
so annoying. And you know what bothers me, Molly? You know what bothers
Try
me,
being a writer.
You know what bothers me, Molly? I feel like if we did a comparison, I really truly believe this. If we did a
side by side
of the books that you pick and the books that I pick, more times when we both don't like the book, more times it's you've picked them.
Of course. Because I have a wider range. Yeah, I have a wider range.
Okay, well
and you have a very specific taste, and I don't. So
But this one is terrible and I picked it.
it is. That's very true.
And I don't dislike this just because it's not my genre.
And
It's
it's not
not
even
good.
it's not that I don't dislike it. This book has it has worth.
Mhm.
I'm a well-read reader.
It's worth $18.99 hardback
Uh,
edition.
I'm a well-read reader.
Mhm.
I'm a educated author.
Mhm.
I've been taught in all of the fucking things.
Mhm.
I, I've been in the industry for longer than I want to say, and I know what is good and what isn't.
Yeah.
And that's just me as a professional podcaster saying that. I'm professional book person here. I know what's good and what isn't. So when I see something like this go out, a half finished idea
Mhm.
put on the shelf and
Yeah.
doing well,
I
it
don't really.
grinds my gears because there are people like
Yeah.
myself and that have been grinding and pushing out books
Yeah.
for a bazillion years and they sit in
Yeah.
slush fest. I have a friend who's writing I'm totally going to go on a tirade here and I'm sorry guys.
It's okay.
She's a writing friend from SNHU. She graduated with me. She is writing a fae story that is dual dimension and it's got like it is high fantasy and
Mhm.
I've been beta for her and I like it. High fantasy and I like it.
You
And
like high fantasy.
I don't like high fantasy.
Mm.
That is how well this is written.
Yeah.
And she has been rejected by some of the best publishers.
Right.
And I'm like, I would put this over A Court of Thorn Roses.
My favorite novel of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird, and that was rejected multiple times. And
It's
that book is
just
one of the most published, highest volume of published per year. It still sells 1 million copies a year.
it bothers me so much that there are books out there that probably could change lives, could change our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and will never see the
But
light
in
of
a
day.
slush pile.
Yep.
Yeah, and you might be right. You do read more genres than I do. I just like to think that I pick better books, but
You do, but you pick what you like. You
yeah.
like okay, next season I put on Big Swiss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big Swiss is just a random book I saw in Barnes and Nobles, and the description made me giggle. The only reason it's on Pod, right? So I grab books like that. You do research. You're
But
methodical.
but
You're a professional.
sometimes because of the way that you approach them, we end up with things like that. No one left to come looking for you.
Oh my god, that was so good. I'm joking.
I don't know what to say, but I forgot to tell you this. Leslie messaged me yesterday
Uh-huh.
on Facebook because we're Facebook friends now.
Oh, nice.
And she started another TJ Klune, his first YA, and she said it was just as good.
Of course it was.
He's phenomenal.
Of
So
course it was. Do
we're
you have any
reading
more
the
questions?
Puppets book.
Of course. Hi, Leslie. We miss you. Thank
Hi,
you for.
Leslie. Okay, what do you think about the concept that this was all a cover up and that headmistress actually wanted the CDC to poison the food and experiment on all the girls? Why Miss Welch was actually the good guy? Was this a good bait and switch?
It was so predictable.
I was
Like,
surprised that headmistress was in favor of the experimenting. I
I
thought
think the
she was just
headmistress
old
never
and
cared.
batty, and like I thought the tox had affected her
Her
mental state.
brain.
Mm-hmm.
I I didn't think we were going to ever be able to trust the adults from the beginning of that book.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if
I don't believe that some of them wandered off to save food. I'm pretty sure that those motherfuckers were the
just
first ones
yeah,
that experimented on.
yeah.
You know what other plot line she dropped? Speaking of being experimented on, she
Hmm.
dropped that plot of where Hetty finds the cooler hidden in the
Yeah.
woods. That was the first experiment. It was the
Yeah.
first patient. She never revisits
Yeah.
that.
There's a lot of things in there that she like just kind of piddled in and ignored.
Mhm.
And like I got government experiment from this book by chapter 4. I
Mhm.
knew that this was a government experiment
Oh
from
yeah. You
chapter
texted me
4.
this is all a government. cover up, and I was like 20 pages in at that point.
And I was like, yeah, this is a government experiment. And that's just the vibe it gave. But are
Oh
we
yeah.
going to talk about the ending?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm going to wait to rant about that. But with the ending, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
I
am
mean,
very frustrated by how she decided to manipulate the story to where she thought it was a good ending.
it wasn't. I thought it was pretty. I really did like that Miss Welch is so traumatized by all that she's been through and doesn't want to have to be involved in killing the girls, so
Yeah.
she kills herself.
Yeah.
Although she probably could have fought headmistress,
Oh, 100%. She probably
but
could have taken. I'm surprised she didn't. Since headmistress left her in charge of all the weapons and she knew what the headmistress was up to, why didn't she just walk up to her and just, you know what I mean? Like,
but
I,
instead she killed herself, and then headmistress gassed the girls like they were in the gas chambers
yeah.
in like Auschwitz.
And then when that didn't work, when the girls escaped that, she
Mhm.
then put fucking gunpowder in their water.
Yeah, I actually thought Taylor killed her. When they found her in her office, I thought they were going to find her dead. Taylor had
Yeah.
killed her. That's what I thought. Taylor was going to be the last bitch standing.
She was going to make sure of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, there's one character that I feel was really underdeveloped. Good segue
Mhm.
in the story for me, and that was Taylor. So, what did you think of her character arc?
Honestly, I didn't think I'm struggling to like remember who the character was.
So, she was the girl that was originally on
Boat
um,
crew, but
boat.
left, right?
Yeah, and it, Hetty doesn't really know why, but she thought it was the guilt of like throwing the
Yeah.
food over, but it wasn't that. Like she didn't care. She was a
Mhm.
fucking adult and wanted off that motherfucking island,
Right.
and so
And I
she was
get that.
to
Yeah,
her
like
mistress. Yeah.
right, like it it was an unnecessary waste of page, honestly, for me, because there is so much. We had such a world with those three main girls. We
Mhm.
really truly needed to focus more on their story, and
Mhm.
adding Taylor's storyline and the way she was in, like, she was so important, but not important. It
Yeah.
just, it was unnecessary to me.
I needed more of her story to really feel like the puzzle pieces fit together. We just,
Right.
and that's probably true about like everybody.
Right. Either give us more of them or less of them.
Or
Like,
don't. Yeah.
yeah, it like
Agreed.
same like the headmistress, we barely got glances of.
Mhm.
The teacher that ran the freaking boat crew, we got glances of. We
Yeah.
barely got glances of Reese's dad. And he's like a driving force for her in this fucking
Mhm.
book.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There was a missed opportunity to do additional characters' point of views and to really make this round out novel,
Yeah.
which would have been easier done in third person, but you know, I've already beat that dead horse. All right. I want to talk about in more detail about the tox itself.
Yeah.
The tox essentially turns girls into Raxter like creatures. So they bleed black like the crabs and the irises and whatever. And it gives them features of animals and plants from the island. But it also makes the animals more feral and plants
Mhm.
overgrow aggressively. Then we find out,
Yeah.
that the tox was a tiny worm parasite that basically got strong enough to infect humans because of climate change. Thoughts? Get 'em, Molly. She's gearing up, friends. Let's calm down.
I'm going to stretch first because
She's
I'm really pissed
literally
about
stood
this.
up and is stretching now. Oh my
I'm
god.
really pissed about this.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm okay. Listen here, children. I am all about climate change. I really do think our planet's in danger. I think there's a lot of things we can be doing to help our world. So there's wars, there's tragedies, there's a lot of things that are happening right now. I don't need it in my fucking novel.
It wasn't the climate change that bothered me.
It's not a villain.
That wasn't what bothered me. It was that there's this tiny ass worm and somehow the CDC didn't find that they were infected with a parasite. You are the CDC! How do you not find the parasite? I don't understand! They had 8 girls that they examined!
They ran scans. So many fucking scans on these girls. They did MRIs, CTs, PET scans. They did fucking everything. And you're telling me you couldn't find a fucking tapeworm?
And when Byatt removed the worm from her arm, she was like,
her own self! I feel better!
She was better!
So
I feel really bad for Tom editing this episode. He's downstairs.
I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry, Tom. But like, I know you have to understand.
They did it.
This book, we read 8+ hours of novel for the villain to be global warming and a parasite.
Yes. Yep.
She couldn't even veil it. Like, she couldn't make it more like, we couldn't get it. What the fuck was that? What did you do?
Just keep going.
She couldn't even veil it in symbolism. We couldn't even get like metaphors and bullshit and like some sort of like, I don't know, but like to just, I'm not the fucking horror writer. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She just went direct on and blamed global warming. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me.
And the way it's wrapped up, it's like, oh, I guess climate change must have made this worm stronger.
The end. Global warming's bad. The end. And if you don't stop global warming, kids, you're gonna cough up a heart.
It's like teen girls. If you have sex, you will get chlamydia and die. If you don't protect the environment, you will get a worm and die.
And that worm will make you have extra heartbeats or an extra spine. You might get scales and... But don't worry, baby. All you gotta do is dig it out with a scalpel by yourself.
After you've been gassed.
She wasn't one of the kids that got gassed.
They gassed her in the hospital.
Oh, that's right.
Breathe in the oxygen mask. It was gas. She knew what they were doing. She knew they were killing her. She didn't want to live after Teddy died. All right. So the novel ends with Hetty and Reese saving Byatt and escaping the island on a boat. That's it. That's the whole ending.
Wait, you forget. Hetty coughs up a tiny little heart at the end.
Tiny heart.
Just like a cat in a hairball. That's all. And then they're just like sitting there sloshing in the boat. The end. I literally took my earbuds out and I go, that's it? I like pulled my phone out and I go, there's no, that's it?
Afterward, we don't get a 10 years later?
Like, and so I Google it. It's a standalone. So, friends, if you are looking for something to make up for this lackluster book that is ruining your life, there is a show on Amazon called Class of '07, and it is a post-apocalyptic show of a all-girls school at their 10-year reunion, and they are in Australia, and the world falls apart, and they become this little island, and they're all stuck at the school. It is spectacular and hilarious and funny, and it will make up for the fact that you read this stupid book.
And if you want an even better book to read, you could read
Cats and Yammer.
Well, yes, you could read Cats and Yammer, and you should read Cats and Yammer. But you could also read Station 11 by Emily St. John, and then listen to the episode I did with Chezzy.
I mean, I guess you could read that book.
It's a good book.
It's a book. Excuse me.
Fucking hell, Molly. I think that's it. You want to talk about what we're doing next month? Because this is the end of October for us.
It is the end of October. There's the book. I found my older girls. It's on the floor.
Perfect timing.
As always. As always.
All right. So next week, we are reading We Are the Light by Matthew Quick. And this is the same author who wrote The Silver Linings Playbook, which I've never read, but have seen the movie, and it was pretty good.
wasn't a fan of the movie.
You what?
I wasn't a fan of the movie.
It was okay. I mean,
it didn't make sense to me, but what do
mean,
I know?
Jennifer Lawrence is in it. I'm gonna like it. I even like her terrible movies. So
same. I love her.
Well, that's November 7th. And then November 13th, we have special guest. Addison Armstrong is back with The Light of Luna Park. So we met Addison at Annapolis Book Festival in April, and she was there talking about her book, The War Librarian, which was phenomenal. Read that book. So we're going to talk about her first novel, which is The Light of Luna Park, and she's going to be here to talk to us.
Another author that got published really young. We're collecting baby authors. Her and Chessie, man. These brilliant girls are just...
Well, Nikki's like our age, right?
Yeah. She's got a boy that's in either... she's got a son who's in either elementary or middle.
And Susan Cole was older than us. So,
yeah.
I mean, we've got a... There's a gamut.
Yeah.
C.C. Harrington's older than us. Okay, then I don't actually have a copy of this book because my husband forgot to pick it up from the library. So he's going to put it right here. He promised me. It is Remarkably Bright Creatures.
She put
it has an octopus on it, Tom. There's an octopus right there. Remarkably Bright Creatures on the 20th, and that one is everywhere.
Everywhere. It's been on my TBR since the beginning of the year. Everybody's raving about it.
It's been on my TBR.
Yeah.
It's been everywhere.
Everyone's raving about it.
And then we're ending the month on November 27th with, speaking of a book that's been fucking everywhere.
Oh my God, Fourth Wing!
Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And I've already pre-ordered the sequel, which comes out in November. So
I have had so many... This is a book with a map.
By the way, I was going to show you the same thing. Map.
This is a book that everyone from my All Souls friend group has been on me to read. Everyone. And I'm like, it's on pod. It's on pod. I swear it's coming, guys. It's coming. November. We will be reading it. Let's hope we don't hate it, because we will really make you guys mad.
I have a feeling that if one of us hates it, it's going to be you and not me, because I read more of fantasy than you do. Like, you like fantasy, but you like witch fantasy.
Right.
Like spells and things.
And vampires and
I like
Matt.
You like more paranormal fantasy, and I like more dragons and romance and fae and romantasy.
Dragon. I don't do that tongue thing. Name the movie.
Let's move on. Of course I know what that is.
Matt, I did that the other day, and Matt's like, I don't know that line.
But just for the record,
I know.
That's dirty. Okay, we probably should go. Fucking hell. All right. I love you, Molly. It was good to be back.
You.
It was good to be back.
I'm glad you took a break, though. You needed it.
Really did. Thank you so much for letting me.
And I'm so glad Katie was here, because we had fun.
I love Katie. I swear.
I love Katie.
She has been so
the third leg we didn't know we needed.
Yeah, I mean, she had her first episode with us in season 1, early in season 1, like episode 6 or something. I mean, we were really baby potters.
Yeah.
And
not potters.
Not potters, but potters. And you didn't even know each other. Like, you guys have only met in person once now. And
she's Katie probably one of my best friends.
Yeah.
My internet best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I agree. I agree. Okay. I love you. I will see you next week.
Bye, fuckers.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Bye. Thank you for joining us on Book Besties. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The views discussed here are those of April and Molly, not those of anyone else. Today's book was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Your Book Besties are Molly Biggs and April Watkins. Editing by Thomas Watkins. And music is Sleep Sweetly by Brigida. Don't forget to follow the Book Besties on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you'd like to contact the Book Besties, please email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com or visit our website, bookbestiespodcast.com. Until next time, besties, get lost in your favorite book.